Rolling.
I am Janak Palta McGilligan, Director, Jimmy McGilligan Center for Sustainable Development in village Sanavdia, district Indore, Madhya Pradesh. I am immensely pleased to share my learning and experience that I gained at Burley Development Institute for Rural Women, and I'm going to share the success stories and about the work, especially socio-economic empowerment of rural and tribal women by training them as human resources for sustainable community development in their own villages. I was 16 years age when I was diagnosed for open heart surgery. So I survived staying in the hospital for 1 year, and I said to God, you have given me new life. I will spend this life thanking you all my life, and that's the purpose of my life. I am still trying to give my best to this purpose of life. And I searched for 16 years to how I will be giving thanks to God full time. I resigned I was invited to come and start an institute for rural and tribal women, and I resigned from a job of my professional career as a research fellow and moved from Chandigarh as a pioneer to Indore for starting Burley Development Institute for Rural Women, June 1, 1985, and never looked back. And I have the privilege of working in a Center for Research and Industrial Development with Mr. P.N. Huxon, who was former Secretary to the Prime Minister of India at that time. And this is the team. I'm right there on the left side, and I learned a lot from the entire India during my rural development programs as a researcher, working with National Integration Council and Ministry of Home, border areas. And so my focus and my heart was more to work for rural development and empowerment of women. So this is 6-acre land given to me, and I was appointed as a director to start the institute, and I lived in a 10 by 10 feet room, surveyed room at the campus. There was no campus. 6-acre land with no boundary wall. So that's I always thank God for that day that I was invited in Indore, and where I had to start this institute. That was the situation in 1985 about Madhya Pradesh. It was known to be India's largest, most populous and poorest states. The tribal people, who comprise 66.18 million, are the poorest of the poor, and the most neglected among the tribal people are the women and girls. According to Indian Human Development Report of 2001, the female life expectancy in Madhya Pradesh was 57, the lowest in the country. So I have been part of this to take it forward and improve it. The girls were not sent to school because they were doing household chores. Only boys were sent to ST, SC hostels in Indore. So one day I asked one father of the girl in tribal village, Jhabua, why your girls are not going to school? I have come to invite girls to be sent to Indore and we will train them. So he said, all the boys who have left home to go to school outside, they never came back on land. We only have girls and women to work on the land and livelihood. So we cannot send the girls because they were collecting wood, they were looking after the animals, they were taking food, they were walking, they were collecting wood, deforesting, and also uh, they were cooking in smoky kitchens. And 3 o'clock, the tribal women getting up to grind to make the flour, and that woman going to pick up water for 4 miles at that time with 2 pots on her head and a baby in the head. So I have taken these photographs myself. So when I went to Jhabua first time in 85, as a protocol, I went to meet the district collector, and I told him it was a time when I had no jeep, I had not funds. I just went to meet people and told him I want to meet the parents of the girls so that they can send the girls. We will train them in literacy, health, and empower them. So, but he said to me, the collector Gopalakrishnan said, we have guinea worm, huge guinea worm infection, lakhs of people are infected. That's the time when Sam Pitroda started technology mission on water. People had hand pumps, but tribals were not using it, and they were not aware how they are getting this worm. So first thing I had to do was to volunteer to, and I stayed and lived in 302 villages, those 302 homes where there was a patient of guinea worm. So I made them aware, and with this Nukkad Natak, Bhili, I requested the collector to help me to give Nehru Yuva Kendra youths who are local. So they made a small skit. Every night we used to do this in the villages, and that's my lifetime when I learned that these are the changing habits that change. And all those women, I lived in their homes. There were no toilet, there was no bathroom, there was no light, there were no roads, and there was no bed. So I learned to live that life with the minimum things. And women, all the women, eradicated guinea worms completely from those 302 villages. And I used to do this every night. So also I was trying to read the society socio-economic conditions of villages and the women and the environment. So there was no light. That petrogas, if that petrogas had a small filament, if it's burnt or finished, so there was no option. You are in dark. So that I started also looking at problems and what would be the solutions. And I also saw the women are cooking in smoke. So it was very disturbing. Guinea worms were going. So I was invited in the UNEP Global 500 Roll of Honor receiving. I had written the name of my institute, and but that made me to learn about environment, and I became more conscious how important is the environment, that each girl that comes to Burli Institute has to go back to improve socio-economic and environmental conditions, return to their own communities, because their fathers said boys went and never came back. So the girls, we only select those girls. They were illiterate, they were poor, they were very innocent, but they were under a lot of threat of all the work. So this also that was a time in 1988 when I married my husband, who was a land reclamation and drainage contractor, and he did a lot of work. He lived with me in Indore and in all the villages. He is the man. So James McGilligan, and he was also conferred Order of British Empire by Queen Elizabeth for his services in India. So so he was a land reclamation and drainage contractor. So the first thing he did in the 6-acre, he was appointed as a manager. So that you see the well, number 1 photo. This was a dead well in the property. There was no wall. So he first recharged that well with the rainwater harvesting system. He laid down an entire 6 acres by his own hands with no staff. So I married a man who could give his life to this work, and this is some example of I came on 1st June 1985. I had no wall, and it's in Mechanic Nagar, the trucks and a liquor shop, and I was young and I was alone. There was no light in the campus, there was no drinking water in the campus, there were no facilities, but this is me sitting in the first row with the tribal girls, because the water was coming at that time and the gate was getting, first time there was a gate, so we are making an entry with keeping bricks with my third batch of students. So this is also an example of 85, how much different this campus is developed by, not only by me and my husband Jimmy McGilligan, all the girls, they were empowered and they were involved, they were having more ownership to develop the campus with their own hands. And after, when I left in 2011, where I am sitting is the peacock sitting, so there is a huge kind of satisfaction in life. And this is the gate that my husband made it bigger himself with his own hands. And so these are 2 pictures of that campus. So Burli Development Institute for Rural Women. NGO empowered more than 6,000 young illiterate, poor, rural and tribal women with socio-economic environmental skills, along with enhanced knowledge, attitude and practices. Positive changes agents returned to their own 500 villages of India during 1985, 2011, 26 years I worked. They continue to contribute significant positive changes to sustainable community development in their area, including use and promotion of solar cookers and sustainable food. So this is the campus developed by Jimmy McGilligan, and we had the concept of green campus, zero waste campus, and it should be sustainable. So that the girls learn by living in that place, in those conditions where they could imagine and take it back to their own homes and practice it. And every morning for 2 hours, everybody worked on the farm. And they used to call my husband Jijaji. He was British, he did not know any Hindi, but he learned all the female Hindi with them. He used to say, "Main samajhti nahi, main khati nahi." So there was it was like a fatherly love, and I think one of the secret of this whole success is Burli was a family. I would like to say about Burli is a Bhilali dialect of Bhilala community of tribal area of Jhabua and Aliradpur, where Burli is a central pillar that holds the house. So I gave this name. Many girls were Burli, so I gave this name. Woman is the central pillar of society. If this central pillar is strong, empowered naturally, then the family and it will sustain, the development will sustain for all the coming generations. So that was the concept of all organic, and because there was a nutrition issue also in Jhabua area, so they grew and learned, and then many solar technologies were there for training them. This is a solar cooker, first solar cooker we had. They could make chapati and they could take solar cookers home, and the girls, the objective was that they become self-sustainable with literacy, health, skills, knowledge, personal development, and that go as a group of their own village to their own communities. Those are their drawings, and these are girls working in the villages as Mahila Mandal. That women group, volunteers, they were not paid anything. So we also, I have not had been a professional, but I learned with the tribal girls whom we raised as trainers, some school dropout girls, and I developed all these books to teach them, starting with literacy, and then all these books, and these are still going on. So there was a systematic curriculum. A girl who comes illiterate, functional way. So they are learning from illiteracy to qualifying National Institute of Open Schooling vocational exam in 6 months. This is a record, I think, in the entire India, and UNESCO has recorded it in its book, this literacy model. This is a tribal girl who is doing videography. She was an orphan girl. She was totally illiterate. Somebody left her with us that she has no parents. So she grew there at the institute, and that again group in the village is working. And look at the girls who were trained. They would take microphone, they will talk, and this is old Jamuna Devi, minister. This girl is talking to minister. So all the students were raised as trainers who were capable, and they are running the institute more than the director and the manager. So this is about health. So based on our own experience, health book is more, this is all based on their culture, their dialects, and so they change their habits, and there is a complete data on Google and everywhere, because we were monitoring and evaluating. My PhD of this university is on this subject, what I am talking today. There is a data. Now they are looking the thermometer, because they had no idea. The person is garam, fever, they don't know. So they were trained to use thermometer. Small things, first aid. So they have communication skills. The media is talking to them. Media people come and talk to me. I said, no, talk to the girls. So illiterate girls, you can see, we raised every evening with the curriculum, peer tutoring by dropout girls. The books we developed the books also, each lesson every day, that ended with a song in their own dialect. So the peer tutors became trainers up to program officers. This is the skills. This is a girl from Bihar Sharif. So she is now vice principal in a school in Bihar. And that's Leela. This is a girl from Manipur, and tailoring, all different kind of skill. So you can see open school exam, and the girl is riding tractor, and they are giving paper examination. This is, they are ready to go with their books. They are in the villages promoting solar cooker. Now graduation ceremony. This is that time Mayor of Indore. So normally when a chief guest comes, it's the director who lights the lamp. I started the girls to light the lamp, empowering. It's just symbolic and make them more confident. So this is Jimmy McGilligan. He made solar dishes, and he made the first solar kitchen of Central India, which is still working. And they're taking it on the first floor, dining hall. And this is, he developed and designed all these things. And from 98 till today, this kitchen is working directly with sun, no silicon, no carbon. And it is successful. And we also raised these girls solar engineer for local areas, and Commissioner of Indore inaugurated with making aloo vada. So Jimmy was invited by many schools in the rural areas. So it's not just what we were doing at the institute. He went, he gave his time, hard time without taking any money, and making solar kitchens in the tribal areas. As 4 more solar kitchens were built, and 900 students used 500 kilos of wood costing 350 per 100 kilos per day. Dati Gaon again saving 350 rupees per 100 kilos per day. And the women, I often tell, it was hard for people even from Indore to believe that solar cooker can cook and fry. So because Indori, this idea clicked me. First thing we do is make same. So if we make same, people will believe it. So the same making that women made these solar cookers not only for their cooking. The major thing that we found success was training that user, and they had to pay 10% of the cost of the one. If users are not trained, they say, box cooker, we took a box cooker, but it doesn't work, it takes whole day. So training of user, empowerment of women, and training them in cooking, drying, and becoming self-help group. And they generate income along with making food not only for themselves, for their cow and buffalo and dog. So this is from microcredit groups. Government of India made it a nodal center for training women who were coming from different areas, and one woman opened a solar tea stall in the village, and this is 500 cookers were taken away by the girls by choice, and they said it's a pride of using a new form of technology for saving energy, health, deforestation, raise the status of women in their families and communities. They are cooking for family, cattle feed, boiling, drinking water, and making snacks. And some pictures of solar cooker, they say, is a gender-friendly cooker because men also started cooking. And less journey to the jungle to collect firewood. Prevents crimes as many rapes and molestation, while women visit forests for collection of fuel wood. Small children don't get burns. These are some of the which we never imagined. It was Jimmy and I used to say, no more cooking in smoky kitchens, because smoky kitchens is a violence against women. It's also violence on forests. So they started planting trees. This is ironing. You could also iron the floor. We had international conferences at that institute. This is the Silver Jubilee, and this is how graduation used to be, and this is what we were celebrating. And this is a last photo of my husband and me. After a few months, we met with an accident, he passed away, but this is a very special, so I thank you all. I want to especially say this is just part 1 for all of you students at Savitri Devi Phule University of Pune. I will send the second part of video for you, and it's my privilege. Thank you so much for having me to share my learning and experience on empowerment of women.